Welcome to MedAxiom HeartTalk, where thought leaders come together for one ultimate goal: to continually transform cardiovascular care for all. MedAxiom HeartTalk starts now.
I'm Melanie Lawson, host of MedAxiom HeartTalk, and today we are talking about a roadmap to employee satisfaction and also retention. So our panel today, experts in this, I am hoping. We have Rachael Dorval, Executive Director at Baptist Heart and Vascular Institute. Thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Dr. Pelbreton Balfour Jr., Medical Director, also at Baptist Heart and Vascular. And then we have Jaime Warren, Vice President of Care Transformation Services here at MedAxiom. Thank you all for joining us again. All right, I think this is a really important conversation and everyone's trying to figure it out, no matter what industry you're in. So specifically in cardiology, what do you think are the key factors that can lead to a positive or negative culture? And let's start first with negative.
Negative.
Yeah.
Okay. I think a lack of communication, lack of transparency, lack of feedback, or leaders not being receptive to the feedback that they receive from team members and their physicians. I think those things lead to anything you want to add, Dr. Balfour?
No, that's great points there in terms of, I think not having good communication can kind of lead to sort of detrimental effects in terms of your workforce, your employees, sort of leading to decreased morale, not feeling supported, and then that in turn affects employee satisfaction. So.
Mm-hmm. Jaime, got anything to add?
I would add just making sure that the communication message goes to everyone.
Yes.
That there's not siloed communication, but that if a piece comes out, it truly is across the full span of the team.
Yeah, that's important. Those side conversations oftentimes aren't the best ones.
Right.
All right, so let's turn it around, as I often tell my children.
Yes.
What about a positive culture?
So great communication, and communication that's, two ways: communications out to the team, communication back from the team. Of course, being receptive to feedback, being receptive to new ideas, making sure that the team feels included and supported. I think those are all good things.
Definitely. I think also trust. I think,
Yes.
With transparency, open communication, it then builds trust, and then that's definitely very important. And also, I think having a supportive environment in terms of their development, having, be supported, by all is definitely important. So.
And I would say respectful communication, being able to know that you can come and talk to anybody at any level, that we're all people, and sometimes we have to say hard messages, and knowing that we can sit down and have a conversation that's productive.
Yeah, courageous conversations,
Yes.
positive ones,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Rachel, let me ask, what steps did your organization take to kind of create that environment? It's nice when you're already there and keeping it there, that's one thing.
Sure.
But when you don't have that environment, how do you lift it up, and what have you seen that works?
No, that's a great question. It kind of leads to what Jaime said, talking at all levels, and not having siloed communication. So I think we're very deliberate in how we communicate and the synergy of the team. Like, it takes effort. It's not, sometimes you have these sort of natural relationships that develop, but in order to keep it healthy, there's work that has to be done, right? So we're very deliberate about fostering communication with the team, fostering an environment that's inclusive and where everyone feels a part of and they feel like they belong. And we took measures to do that. A lot of them were small things that we did, just little reward and recognition things for the team, adding things to our huddles that we do in the morning to make the team feel appreciated. I would say it was a bunch of little things. We had an overall good culture, but lots of tweaks that we made kind of along the way.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask, because sometimes you have someone it's really hard to get on board.
Sure.
How do you kind of extinguish that flame?
I think a lot of times you have to meet people where they are. Dr. Balfour and I were laughing earlier. While we're a very engaged team, it doesn't mean that we're like skipping through the flowers together every day. It's not quite that. But we try to pull everyone in, but first meet them where they are, and see how we can help to meet their needs and bring them in and make them feel included. Yeah.
Those individual conversations.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Balfour, from a clinical perspective, what do you say or see as the biggest benefits versus the biggest challenges to create that environment?
And that's a great question. You know, starting off with the biggest benefits, I would think would be our patient outcomes or quality of care. When you foster that positive environment, that workforce culture, what you see is your staff being empowered to sort of deliver their best efforts day in and day out. And you see that reflected in your day-to-day operations, essentially. So, you know, it's a huge multiple benefits there. You know, in terms of challenges, you know, I think there are a lot of things that we've worked on in terms of, you know, being intentional with, say, communication and recognition of staff. But there are also things that we don't always have the power to do, right? And I think the biggest ones are probably compensation, which does, you know, significantly affect employee satisfaction. But we can't just walk into the office and the next day say, okay, we're going to give you this large raise, you know. So I think that there still are some difficulties there. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, but I think we've been transparent in terms of knowing what that challenge is, and then sort of, you know, working with our, you know, human resources teams to kind of say, hey, you know, are we meeting, you know, sort of expectations of the market, things of that nature? How can we improve on that? And I think also in terms of scheduling, I think sometimes, you know, being flexible has been helpful, but you can't always, you know, have that ideal schedule for everyone. So, you know, but, you know, you still try to have that open communication to make things work as best for the team.
Yeah. Something that kind of resonated with me, what you just said initially, is that the work that makes healthcare unique is because it's all tied to the patient.
Right.
So if they see the benefit in coming together and being positive, and then the outcome is better because of that, that's kind of an easier sell.
It is. And I think the more we work together and we take care of each other, we take better care of the patients. Yeah.
All right. So Jaime, let me bring you in. What advice would you give to a practice that wants to enter into creating a better work culture, work environment, retention, and maybe even one that's there and they just want to stay where they are and even lift up a bit?
Sure. I think a lot of us just need to take a pause for a moment and really say, okay, where are our pockets of opportunity? And I say, you know, come and talk to our other members. Dr. Balfour and Rachael are amazing. They are great with sharing information, that the tactics that they have used to be able to really make effective changes. I like to use the analogy that a lot of times we talk about culture and it's like it's a cloud. And the more that you try to put your hands around it, it's just mist that comes out of your fingers. But every once in a while, you're able to really meet some individuals that have figured out how I can really make this a tangible change in doing that. So it's more of a team approach. One of the questions you were saying, like the benefits of this, you know, when you have a team that is well respected and lots of communications, the patients see that and they feel that from the time that they walk in the door. So they'll come in and, you know, they'll get their registration, they'll make the comment, oh, you're getting ready to see whoever, you're going to love them, they're good at what they do. And then you get to the next spot and maybe they're seeing, you know, an APP, and the APP wants to order a diagnostic test. Oh my goodness, you're getting ready to go into our diagnostic department. You're going to love them. And so it just kind of breeds this experience for the patient that they know they're being well taken care of, but they know they're being well taken care of with a team that actually enjoys working together.
That's such a great point. You know, I think about my experience or my mom's, and I'm like, oh, they're like, oh my gosh, you are going to love such and such. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Yeah, that does make a difference. All right. That made me smile. All right. So any other advice, maybe Rachael, do you have?
Sure. I mean, I love what Jaime said, and I'm just going to kind of piggyback on that. It is absolutely palpable by the patients. And we get a lot of comments about that. You guys, you know, seem like you really like each other. We're very much a family. We call each other a work family. This is my work family member. And we look out for each other as such. And we've become and grown to a place where we actually like being with each other at work and outside of work. We've really become a family. And patients can see it and they can feel it, and other departments see it and can feel it. And we often get comments about that. So I think just back to the basics. Sometimes it starts with just, you know, as the docs come in and saying good morning to their team and their team back to them. You know, those friendly little gestures lead to bigger things. Sometimes it's just going back to the basics.
Dr. Balfour, you have any thoughts on this?
No, I would say I think one of the things that's really important in terms of when it comes to work, culture is being intentional about it. So when you are intentional about it, I think the good things happen. And so really just it's not something that's just going to happen just by chance necessarily. So if you're trying to work on that, I think you really have to find those opportunities where you can intentionally create that positive work culture, or even look for opportunities to look at, hey, what are negative things are happening and how can we intentionally work on that and improve those things.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Conversation that hopefully will lift practices up in a time when it's a little unstable and people are nervous about a lot of different things. So thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you for having us
on Heart Talk.